All right, hopefully you had time to try those practice. Again, if you have any questions, just reach out to me and we can go over them. Let's look at this next part. It says, is it always true that the square root of x squared equals x? Recall that the symbol, the radical, names the principal or positive square root of a positive number. Thus, when x equals -9, you have the square root of -9 squared equals the square root of 81, which equals 9. Therefore, it's not always true that x squared equals x. If x is positive, the square root of x squared equals x, but if x is negative, then the square root of x squared is negative x. In either case, it is true that the square root of x squared equals the absolute value of x. So, when you are finding square roots of variable expressions, when we talk about variable expressions, we're talking about numbers with variables and exponents. You must be careful to use absolute value signs when needed to ensure that your answer is positive. Okay. So it's not really that tricky. You just have to understand when the absolute value symbols are necessary. So before we get started over here, I'm just going to do a little bit of practice. So first of all, how do you know how to take the square root of a exponent? So anything that is an even exponent, and we're not talking about absolute value, we'll do that in a moment. It's like taking it in half. So if I take the square root of x squared, half of 2 is 1, so it's x. And we'll talk about, again, whether we use absolute value or not. If I take the square root of x to the 4th, half of that is x squared. Half of 4 is 2, and so on. If I take the square root of x to the 6th, half of that is x cubed. Now, what if we're taking the square root of an odd exponent, such as the square root of x to the 5th? Well, if I have the square root of x to the 5th, I turn it into as many evens as I can and leave the remaining odd. Because I know that the square root of x to the 4th is a perfect square. Half of 4 is 2, so that becomes x squared on the outside, and then I leave the x that is not the perfect square on the inside. Okay, now we're going to do some practice, and we're going to incorporate when we have to use the absolute value with it. Okay, so number 1, we're going to do the square root of 196y squared. Okay, 196, is that a perfect square? Yes, if you go back to your perfect square chart, 196 is the square root, it's 14. Now, we know y squared is a perfect square, it's y. When you take the square root of your exponents and it is odd, you have to put it in absolute value, because we don't know if that is going to be an even or not even a positive or negative number, so we have to give it absolute value. If you take the square root and it's an even exponent, no absolute value. So let's look at the next one, the square root of 36x to the 8th. I'm going to rewrite that. 36, is that a perfect square? Yes, it's 6. X to the 8th, it's a perfect square because half of 8 is 4. You see how the exponent is even? We don't need absolute value. So it's 6x to the 4th. Now let's look at the square root of 18a cubed. Okay, so 18 is not a perfect square, but I know there's a perfect square factor in 18, which is 9. So I have 9 times 2. A cubed is not a perfect square, but the most even amount I can take is 2, so I have 1 left over. So now I'm ready to take the square root of what I can. The square root of 9 is 3. The square root of a squared is a. What is left under the radical is the 2 in the a. So my answer is 3a times the square root of 2a. And that a that's on the outside was an even square root, so now that it's odd, it has to be absolute value. So it's the absolute value of 3, let me restate that, it's 3 times the absolute value of a times the square root of 2a. All right, let's look at another one. Number 4, the square root of 162y to the 12th. 162 is not a perfect square, but I know that 81 times 2 is 162. Y to the 12th is a perfect square. The square root of 81 is 9. The square root of y to the 12th is 6. That's an even exponent, so I'm good. And the only thing left under the radical is the square root of 2. All right, we're going to do a couple more. Number 5, 63, a to the 8th, c to the 10th. 63 is not a perfect square, but 9 is a perfect square. Times 7, a to the 8th, c to the 10. Square root of 9, 3. Square root of a to the 8th is a to the 4th. Square root of c to the 10th is c to the 5th. It's odd. It needs absolute value. The only thing left under the radical is the square root of 7. Number 6, positive or negative square root of 256 over 400 s to the 12. I feel like my writing is sloppy. All right, 256, is it a perfect square? Yes, it is. It's 16. 400, is it a perfect square? Yes, it is. It's 20. Is s to the 12th a perfect square? Yes, it is. It's s to the 6th. We have plus or minus. Now, we could have simplified under there first by dividing out, but we are going to simplify at the end. Remember, you can divide first under the radical if you want, or you can wait to the end. 4 goes into both of those, so that becomes 4 over 5s to the 6th. And don't forget that's positive or negative. Number 7, the square root of 363 x to the 5th y over 3xy cubed. Okay, this time I am going to divide first. 3 goes into 363 121 times. I have x in my numerator and denominator. Where are there more? In the numerator, how many more? 4. I have y's in my numerator and denominator. Where are there more? In the denominator. How many more? 2. Now this is still under the radical. Is 121 a perfect square? Yes, it is. It's 11. Is x to the 4th a perfect square? Yes, it is. It's x squared. Is y a perfect square? Yes. Or is y squared a perfect square? Yes, it's y. And since that's odd, it's the absolute value of y. And that's your answer. Okay, so when looking at these, you need to take it in pieces and try to find your perfect square factors first and look at your variables and see if any of the variables, the exponents on them, you just need to be careful. We're going to do one more thing in this section, and that is to solve. So the first one says solve 4r squared equals 25. So the thing I'm trying to do is get r by itself. So to undo multiplication, I'm going to divide. I end up with r squared equals 25 over 4. How do I undo something that's squared? I take the square root. If I had something that was cubed, I would take the cube root of it. So r squared, now I'm going to take the square root of that. And when I take the square root of it on this side, I have to do positive or negative, because remember that r squared, we don't know if that's a positive or negative r. Okay, when I take the square root of something squared, remember we just did it, the square root of r squared is r, you take half of it, or basically it cancels it off. What's the square root of 25 is 5, and the square root of 4 is 2. So my solution is r can be positive or negative 5/2. And the next one, first I'm going to add 18. So I'm left with 2t squared equals 18. Then I'm going to divide by 2, and I'm going to get t squared equals 9. To get rid of the something squared, I take the square root and I make it positive or negative. And the square root of t squared is t. Square root of 9 is 3. So t equals positive or negative 3. In number 3, I'm going to add 16. And I get 36y squared equals 16. I'm going to divide by 36 to get y by itself. Y squared equals, let's see, I think 4 goes into 16 4 times, and 4 goes into 36 9 times. To get y by itself, I'm going to take the square root of y squared, and then I'm going to take the square root of the other side, plus or minus. So I get y equals positive or negative. The square root of 4 is 2. The square root of 9 is 3. And that's our answer. Okay, so this completes lessons 11.3 through 11.5. Kind of went over a lot of material. If you haven't done radicals before, this was very much new to you. As always, please reach out to me if you have any questions on anything. All right, y'all have a good day.